a walking stick to defend yourself, I have two options here. I have a standard walking stick length of 36 inches. This is a dowel rod. You can buy this at a local hardware store, a little bit of sandpaper, a little mineral oil, and you have yourself a training self-defense tool that also doubles as a walking stick, or you can train with this and then use a regular walking stick, which is the exact same length for most people, 36 inches. I also have a longer walking stick, also known as the Japanese Joe or hiking staff, something that you might find in a movie or a TV show like The Walking Dead. Morgan just returned. Morgan from The Walking Dead uses something like this. So basically, this length is 54 inches, this is 36. They both work. Can you use a walking stick to defend yourself? The answer is yes. The first reason that you can defend yourself with a walking stick is you have a reach advantage, especially if the attacker, the violent assaulter, has something like this weapon here. If they have a knife, you can see, even with this shorter 36-inch walking stick, you have reach advantage. If he's got it, this is him, that's the bad guy, you've got this much reach with that weapon, and then, of course, with this longer weapon, you have reach. The other reason that you can defend yourself with a walking stick is that it doesn't bleed, right? You can cut this all you want. If you cut skin, if you cut bone, if you cut inside into these tender spots on your body, you're in big trouble. At the least, at the minimum, you're gonna have horrible wounds that have to be healed, sewn up, put back together. At the worst, they get close enough, lacerate all that stuff, and you're toast, you're done. So this doesn't bleed, this does. I would rather, if they had something like this, I'd rather have something like this to defend myself, a walking stick or hiking staff, and not take chances of trying to take away a knife or block a knife or stop a knife or a machete or some other kind of bladed weapon, or even a chunk of concrete, a frozen water bottle, a skateboard, anything, any weapon they might have, or if there are multiple attackers. The third reason you can defend yourself with a walking stick is that if you have, let's say, those three attackers, you have a force multiplier. You can hit this one, immediately go to that one, come back and hit that one, and when you hit them, you have hard wood striking against their body or whatever material your walking stick is going to be made out of. That's going to be stronger no matter what than your fist, your knuckles, your open hand, your feet. So using a walking stick, can you defend yourself with a walking stick? The answer is yes. Why? Number one, it gives you reach advantage over something like a knife. Number two, it doesn't bleed like your skin, your body. You're going to do a lot of damage if they get close enough with that. Number three, it's a force multiplier, and that's what we're going to talk about now, how to use a walking stick for self-defense. And Studer, I just want to say thank you so much for that donation. Hello to everybody else who's here. I'm going to start off with my favorite length, which is the Japanese Joe, or think of it as a hiking staff or a hiking stick. Again, this is the same weapon you would see in that TV show, The Walking Dead. And I think The Walking Dead Live or Returns or something like that. There's a new series out, and they're bringing Morgan back. I couldn't be more excited. From here, I stand behind my weapon. I point my thumb, and now it's in two hands. This is where it becomes a force multiplier. You're going to take the strength and the power and the weight of your body, put that body in motion, and as you do, thrust and go through the opponent, go through the enemy. Go through the guy who's got the knife, right? Go through the person who's trying to hurt you. You point your thumb, that aims it at him. You can also slide with the backhand and extend your reach and keep your distance. Remember, that's one of the benefits. Can you defend yourself with a walking stick? Yes. Why? Because it's longer than his weapon. It's longer than his arm, his foot. If you want to, you can keep him back in this direction. Thrusting is a very basic, simple, super powerful, effective way to stop somebody from getting close enough to do you harm. Whether they have a knife or not, you might not even know what they have. You're not comfortable, you tell them to back up, they don't. You point your thumb and you say, hey, I mean it. Back up, I'll defend myself. Then, if you need to, that first kind of like a pull cue, just thrusting through here, almost like a spear. Second one, turning the hand over. And third, if you need to, moving your body in to create maximum force as you thrust and strike. Of course, you can miss them like I did because I was watching you, but pushing in, that's why we practice, right? Pushing in, strike with full force, full power. It's a force multiplier. So again, that basic first technique I want you to practice, get behind it, point it, and push. From here, point, push. Now you can see I loosen the grip on the front hand so that I can slide it a little bit in the backhand. That becomes instinctive the more you practice. Good evening, Sensei Emmett. Who else do we have here? Crazy Prepper. Best place to put it is right through the middle, right through the middle. Think of the answer to that question, Crazy Prepper, is nose, eyes, mouth, teeth, throat, solar plexus, anywhere in that center line where you can create the most damage. So you're going to ask yourself, depending on the situation you're in, what target can I remove or destroy? His ability to see me, his ability to breathe temporarily or permanently. Nidan, it's good to see you, 215, and Zero Gluten, nice to see you. From here, ask yourself the question, what am I going to remove or destroy? His eyesight, his breathing, his throat, his ability to stand upright. Maybe I go lower into that thin sheath of muscle, the fascia here, that keeps his guts in, and I strike that and put that into a spasm and stick him right on the ground. So think about the best place to put that spearing strike, that first thrusting strike, is straight through the middle. Immediate, direct, and explosive. That's a principle of self-defense, using your walking stick for self-defense. Favorite character, Walking Dead, Pie Universe, I'm going to have to say it has to be Morgan, because he uses a staff that turns into a spear, right? He's got it there, and he can thrust, he can change hand positions, he can bring it through here, bring it down on top, bring it up under the bottom. We're going to go over those strikes now. So the first one, stand behind it, point your thumb, simply thrust. The second thing I want you to think about is a chopping motion. Think about chopping down a tree, chopping down the bad guy. Garen says, can't stress hitting through enough, meaning commit to your strikes. And this is the biggest secret of creating power. If you want knockout strength, right? I don't care how old you are, how young you are, how fit you are, how unfit you are, you can unlock more devastating stopping power for self-defense when you do three things. That's full extension of any technique and turn. Yeah, Jimmy says, you're never underarmed if you remember your body is the best weapon to protect yourselves. Amen. That's the truth. Number one, to unlock more power, full extension. And to get that in a punch, you turn it over just a little bit. John's going to check out that show. Number two is rotation, turning through your center line, shoulders and hips. Always remember shoulders and hips, whether it's a punch or a thrusting motion. You're going to do a full extension and you're going to turn your body into the strike. Number three is anytime you can get your body to move forward. If it's a boxer's jab, there's the extension, right? That's why you see him turn the hand over. That extends it all the way. That means it locks it out. And no, you're not going to hyperextend your arm when you practice a lot. So you're going to turn it over. Number two, add the turn of the shoulders. Look how broad my shoulders are. When I rotate here, that brings the tip here closer to the threat. So when you punch, you're getting more distance to punch through the target. You're also getting more power. You're recruiting more muscle than just punching with your arm. If I just punch like this, it's a little bit of chest, it's a lot of tricep, a little bit of shoulder. That's not nearly enough. Even if as big as I am, I'm not going to do a lot of damage hitting somebody. You can knock them out when you rotate and turn. You can be half as big as I am. You can be twice as big. You want more power, you've got to rotate the shoulders and the hips while you extend. And then finally, when you move your body in by taking a small step, bam, and you smash, you create so much power. Yeah, and John says that's why you have to condition the body to take the hit. So from here, thrusting while stepping in, will extend and knock them out, go through them. Stretching does make you kick higher, Brandon. The answer is yes. But here's the other thing you have to know about stretching and legs. If your body has a lot of inflammation because you have a crummy diet, you're eating too much sugar, that's the number one. It's the three white devils: sugar, salt, and flour. Anything processed in a box. You're eating any of those three, you're gonna have a lot of inflammation. I don't care how flexible you are, it's gonna catch up when you get older, right? If you're older and you've lost your flexibility, it might not be your age, it might be your crummy diet. So get rid of the three white devils, start to drink more water, learn how to get rid of the inflammation, and then your flexibility is gonna come back. You'll be shocked. You'll say, oh, I thought I was just old. No, you just have a crummy diet. Fix your diet. So from here, you're going to step and thrust. The second one is pulling to the same shoulder. Now when I do that, I bring it here onto my shoulder so that I can turn, remember, shoulders and hips, smashing straight down. Think about turning off their operating system. Temple, jaw, neck, shoulder, hit one of those joints, break them, elbow, into the ribs, into the legs, smash that thigh, smash that knee, but you're bringing it straight down. You create so much power. Make sure you have a good firm grip. And then coming from the backside through the jaw, through the neck, through the side. So the third punch is here, almost like a straight reverse punch with that back hand. After I chop down here, come straight in a horizontal line, higher or lower. It's all the same line. So you now have 3 strikes. Can you use a walking stick for self-defense? Yes. How? Start in a better position. Point the thumb. Practice thrust, practice angular chop, practice that backhand punch. Finally, a vertical strike, straight down on top of their head, or a vertical strike straight up under the chin. There's that movie, Coming to America, with Eddie Murphy, and he's standing there with the mop, and the bad guy comes in, and he's screaming and yelling. Everybody's got the shotgun. He's blowing things away, and he's saying, "Give me all the money." And the guy, Eddie Murphy, and said, leave him alone. He doesn't, and he has his mop. Bam, comes straight up. It's a fast, explosive move. That's a legit technique. Hit him under the chin, right? If he's reaching out, he's got that knife, smash him. In the movie, he comes around and he also sweeps his leg out from under his feet. Practice that. You can do that. Smash here, bring it around and sweep. Or smash here, come to the jaw, come down on top, and then end with the thrust. Practice by putting those different strikes in combination. You can do that. Just understand from here, one angle, or the first technique is just a thrust, either extended and thrust or simple, quick, explosive thrust. How do you get more power? Full extension. How do you get more power? Rotation. How do you get more power? Move the body into the strike, and you're going to be able to stop the fight using your walking stick for self-defense. Thanks, John. Says you got ideas for me. He owes me your thanks. I owe you my thanks for watching me. Thanks for stress. Thanks for practicing. Brandon agrees. Got to follow through. So from here, bring it here, down on top, or up under the chin. Those are all strikes in the front hand. What if it's in your backhand? You're walking down the street. And I've been talking to people. Someone pointed out to me, if you're going to teach people self-defense using a walking stick or a cane, you have to talk about how do you use a walking stick to walk? How do you use a cane to walk? So I've been doing that a little bit more lately. Reach forward, stabilize yourself, walk up to it. So let's say now I'm moving in this direction, I'm hiking, I'm walking, and it's now in the backhand. It's not in the front hand. I can't point my thumb. From here, I'm going to bring this right to my head. Think about shielding the side of your head. When I do that, it's going to get that in that other hand. Remember what I said about being a force multiplier? Can you defend yourself with a walking stick? Yes. Why? Because it's longer than a knife. It's longer than a weapon. It's longer than his arm. You have reach advantage. Why? Number 2, can you defend yourself with a walking stick? Yes, because it doesn't bleed, right? It's not going to break very easily. And number 3, it's a force multiplier. Put both hands on it. Now I can hit with extreme amounts of force, and it's all concentrated in this tiny. This one's made out of hickory. If you want to see what these cost, this is a special one that I have made for my students and for the people who ask me. They ask me, hey, can we make you one to your specifications? Cane Masters makes this, and it's hickory. It's extremely heavy. It's extremely durable. It feels great. It feels like butter in your hands. But it just, when it hits with so much force. All your strength of your body, however much you weigh, my 240 some pounds in motion, full speed, multiplied because of the force, is concentrated on that little tip. Now I'm sticking that right through the center of his face for self-defense, right? I told him, back up, you're too close. Don't come any closer. I saw him put his hands in his pocket. I saw the knife come out. I'm not waiting for him. I'm not going to wait to try to parry and block that knife. Before he comes in, I'm sticking it right through his face. From this position, then reach your hand down and slide. See how I did that? I changed where the length, where my reach advantage is. The reach advantage is in front of my left hand right here. It's down that part, right? I hit him with it. Then I'm going to pull that back or slide that hand forward and change and put the reach advantage on my back shoulder like Paul Bunyan with my big old axe. and bring it down, full force for self-defense. Full speed power into his jaw or his neck or his legs or his body to make him stop trying to hurt me for self-defense. Then I can slide that hand back up, and here's that reach advantage coming back. I can stay back here this distance the whole time. Coming up, coming down, down on top. Just changing my hand position. So that's something. Can you use a walking stick for self-defense? When you answer the question, yes, you can. Why? Because of the reach, because of force multiplier, because it doesn't bleed. How? Can you defend yourself with a walking stick? Yes. How? You have to practice changing your hands, changing the length. Just practice as simple as that. And then practice changing your grip. As simply as this. This is called walking on your staff, well, hand walking your staff. And then if you want to, from here, you can slide it from side to side. So now you're turning it over and slide it back and forth. John says he practices the bow every day, or his Joe every day. I missed all of that, John, but I appreciate that. I do too. I love these things. But I don't want to stop here. I want to give you one more technique, which is carrying it like this. And then I'm going to show you all the same thing using that homemade, less than $10. That was less than $5 because I got it on sale, half price. That's an oak dowel from Lowe's Hardware down the street. A little bit of sandpaper, a little bit of mineral oil, and then you've got yourself a walking stick you can practice with. You can carry it with you if you need to, or you can practice with that and then use a shillelagh. Got a whole wall full of shillelaghs thanks to Doug. Doug's contacted me today. He's got some more shillelaghs coming for me. If you carry it in this hand, you have two ways to get it into the other hand. I want you to get in the other hand. Can you strike with one hand? You can, like a spear, right? Think of like a Roman or Native American or any culture who uses spears, right? Think of how you can slide your hand. You can do that. I like to get two hands on it just because I think it gives you more control. Jimmy says, remember, not always a person defending against. Yeah, but dogs. Amen. Jimmy, I just saw again down here, seems to be a high number of pit bulls in this area. There was another pit bull mauling where the pit bulls got off the chain, out of the backyard, mauled the neighbor down the street to death. Since Eamon asked if I've tried a Hurley stick, I have not. I'm going to look that up. I'm not sure what that is. I've heard of it. I've heard of Hurley stick, but I can't recall what it is off the top of my head. But you're right. Whether it's a vicious dog or some other animals, I heard in Barcelona pigs are attacking Shakira or something. I just saw a headline. I don't know anything about it. I just, Shakira, the one who shakes, I'm not a big fan of the music or the shaking, but nothing against it. It's just not my style. But I know she's a singer, and she's in Barcelona, and some pig attacked her or something. Maybe it's a pig. Anyway, John, you guys are talking about the Hurley stick. From here, Shakira's walking down the street, doing the thing. She's got her purse. The pigs come out. She puts it in the other hand. You have an immediate ability to strike down at that angle or into the side or down over the top or coming into the jaw if it's a person. In this position, you can also, from here, you can also go into that thrusting motion, or you can go into a reverse thrusting motion. This is one of my favorite strikes because it's so powerful. From here, and then you come here. All from turning your palm up, putting your hand in that split grip. From here, if I wanted to, I can go the other way. I just turn my hand over, and now it's in this position, like I'm doing push-ups. From here, same thing. I can thrust if I need to. I can bring it through in that vertical strike. I can bring that down at an angle. This is very powerful. I can come up at an angle. I can go into the knee. I can go into that vicious dog's mouth and face if I need to for self-defense. And by the way, if you ever have a vicious dog coming after you, try to stick something in its mouth. Rip your shirt off if you can, or your jacket, and stick it in their mouth and like they're playing. That's all they really want to do. And they're either going to do that with a chunk of your leg, your arm, your throat, or they'll do that with your jacket. So that's just a side tip. You do have a vicious dog coming at you, or stick that end of your stick in his mouth if you don't want to smash his head. Your choice, right? But from here, I can thrust in this position, all from here, just turn it up. So you have two ways to get into a protected position if you're carrying it just in one hand. Let me grab the other stick. And I want to review where we started. Real quick, in case you join me after. The bad guy's got a knife, right? Thug, punk, whomever it is. That happens, yeah. I got a Hanbo. That's all I've got. Hanbo is a Japanese word for the 36-inch walking stick, or in this case, an oak dowel, which is getting stronger by the day because I keep oiling it up. A little bit of mineral oil every couple days, and then I work it in with my hands by practicing, striking over and over, thrusting, right? Coming down over the top. Hey, Rand, it's good to see you. Yeah, free Scheller. Lieutenant Colonel Scheller, Semper Fi, Marine. This guy, he did do the wrong thing. He didn't do it the right way. I know about chain of command. We all know that anybody who's ever served, especially in the Marine Corps, you know you don't do it the way he did it. He did it wrong. However, what happened in Afghanistan, leaving all of our people there, bringing over 100,000 people who didn't even help us, the bombing of the droning of the kid, I mean, all that stuff. I'm not going to get into that too deep. That was all wrong. And so he spoke his heart and his conscience. He should not be in jail. He hasn't been charged with anything. That's all political. That's all crap. So yes, free Lieutenant Colonel Scheller. Let me be the first to say it, second to say it, since you said it first. All right, yeah, everybody makes mistakes, but you shouldn't be in jail for that. Not when you're one of our war fighters, one of our barrel-chested Marines, Lieutenant Colonel running the infantry school, for God's sake, or whatever he ran. He should not be for speaking his mind and saying, hey, the people above me should be held accountable. That's all I'm saying. If you don't know anything about it, look it up. Lieutenant Colonel Scheller, they threw him in jail a week ago. All he did was say, something's not right. We need to hold these guys at the top accountable. And he wasn't supposed to speak out of turn, but he did, right? And it pales in comparison to the fraud that they're perpetuating with that whole thing. You got me started. Too bad. I'm sorry. Anyway, hello to Argentina. We'll get back on topic. But free Lieutenant Colonel Marine, Semper Fi, Semper Fidelis, band of brothers, we're always faithful, right? We need to help them out. All right, so there's the knife. There's the stick. You have a reach advantage. Even if you use your Hanbo as a one-handed sword, you know, maybe you're Zorro now, then you have the reach advantage. Number two, it doesn't bleed. This knife will not, it'll cut it, it'll scrape it, it could probably cut chunks of it out, but I'd rather it nick this up, mess this up. I can sand that, put some more oil on it. I can't sand that, right? That gets in there, that cuts me in the wrong way. I can lose my hand, I can lose use of my hand, I can bleed out. They get closer into some of the vital organs. There's no going back from that. They're not putting you back together. They can't sew you up fast enough. You know, so I'd rather let them hit this. So can you use a walking stick to defend yourself? Yes. Why? You've got reach advantage. Number two, the stick does not bleed. Number three, it's a force multiplier, right? You're walking with your Hanbo. Let me show you how to get into that better position, because you're not going to point your thumb. You have to slide your hand down the back of it. From here, just think your weight's on it. You're walking with it. You slide your hand down the back. Now you can pick it up. Hey, you're getting too close. I can use just that little bit to thrust into his face. That's very effective. Putting your body, remember what we said before? You need a knockout power, stop the fight power. You need full extension. You need to rotate through your shoulders and the hips, and then step in with your foot a little bit. From here, thrust into his face. Maybe hook around to the side. Maybe bring that backhand through this way. Bring this into his stomach or down into the groin. Lift it into the other hand in that better position. From here, I pull it up. Now I thrust almost like a bayonet attack. Slide the hand down, come over the top, like a baseball bat almost. Baseball bat, your hand comes together. Don't ever put your hands together. You lose control. That creates a pivot point. Bring it here and stop it. More Japanese style. To the side of the head, to the other side, down to the knees, coming in through a horizontal strike. Slide your hand the other way, you can bring it back this way. Now you have that reach, right? You can bring this down over the top. You can bring this over the top of his head and lift this up under his legs. Lift him off the ground. All from this position here, sliding down. You can pull it into the backhand. Now you thrust, just like we started this whole scenario with. I'm here, bring it up, thrusting, stepping in. I can do that pull cue push, add more distance, more reach, get more reach advantage. I can strike them from here. I can do both. I can push and step and thrust. Notice how I'm turning my hand over and my or elbow locks out and my wrist locks out, and this hand turns under, locking that so that my body might move back, but my hands aren't going to collapse. My arms won't collapse. So I can thrust this way. From here, just like I had a wooden sword, bringing it down from one side to the next, down to the body. Super fast, explosive, simple, all starting in this position. Slide your hand down the back. Second way, slide your hand down the front, and then you pick it up like this. So if I'm here, my weight's on it, I reach out, I'm walking, I reach out, I'm walking. I'm leaning against it like my shillelagh. Shillelagh is a little bit shorter, but like this. And I slide my hand down the front and I bring it up here. Chief of Beef, thank you so much. I really appreciate that donation. You guys are really helping me out a lot today. From here, I made a goal by the end of this year. I'm going to increase how much time we spend together if I can reach a certain amount. You guys are helping me reach that amount. From here, slide down. I'm going to do it either way, but it just makes it sound better, right? Slide my hand down the front and I lift it into this position. I take a good grip right here. From here, I have those same hard, fast, thrusting strikes, slashing strikes, horizontal strikes. I can bring my other hand onto it and let this hand slide up a little bit. And I have these same positions. From here, sliding down the front, I can bring it into this hand and now thrust and now strike and strike and bring it up the bottom, bring it up this way. All from bring your hand down the front of it. Garen says how to video on folding knives and effectiveness, different blade types. Yes, I would love that. I'm not a blade expert, but I played with them for such a long time. I would love to take a shot at that. One thing that I was thinking of, Garen and everybody else, is I have expertise in certain areas, deep. Other areas is little. I would rather go find like a blade expert, sit down with them, and then we'll talk about it and then share it. Or whatever the different techniques are. When you guys have something that I'm not the expert in, I don't want to fake it and say, hey, I know all about it and show you some BS. I'd rather go find and then we all learn together. So that's how I'm going to transform this channel a little bit. I want to go on, let's go find the guy or girl who knows way more than I do, than we do, and let's learn together. That's how I picture this channel, this martial arts university that we all belong to, this online dojo, virtual dojo. That's how I see it growing. Let's go out and expand it. Let me bring in more experts, people who know more than I do, then we can all learn together. So that's the goal. All right, so I'm here, slide down the front, and bring it to the other hand. I'm ready to go. Thrusting, striking, sliding my hand, one slide, and then I can practice. Now I want to leave you with some things that I want you to do with your hanbo or your jo or your short walking stick or your medium-sized walking stick. And the first one is, start with your hands on the end. You're going to turn one hand over, one hand under, slide it in, and then turn it and slide it out. Now this is just so you can get comfortable with moving your hand around and controlling that walking stick so that you never drop it. So that you wouldn't be doing this when you're defending yourself. You're not going to do this to mesmerize them and get them unfocused and then whack them with it, right? This is just during your training so that your hands and this piece of wood become one, right? You feel the soul of your hanbo, the soul of your hiking stick. So we go one side, the other side, back and forth, and then change directions after a while. The second thing, there we go. The second thing I want you to work on is bringing a straight line in front of your body, right? And when you do that, try not to bring your arm out, but bring your arm straight up and bring it down. Bring it down and push to increase the speed and the force of that strike. So as your hand comes down, it's sliding, but it's also applying pressure so that you can hit harder and faster. Hello, Doug. It's good to see you. So you're bringing it here, and then you bring it up and down, up and down. And this will be a little bit easier with a hanbo. If your shoulders aren't as limber as they used to be, I would start with a hanbo. But you can do this with either one. You can do it with your your Joe, sliding up and just getting comfortable. Just felt my shoulder on that one. Coming up and over. The next one is that changing the hand position, right? Hand walking from here to here. And again, when you're fighting, this will become instinctive. You're not even going to think about it. You're going to be in this position, and then when you need to, you're going to be in this position. That's another one you can practice. Bring one hand to the end, bring it to the front. Bring one hand to the end, bring it to the front. Sliding from here, here. Kind of this turning or blocking motion. See how I pull that up? And as I pull that up, I'm turning this hand over. Now there's a lot more to it. We can add a lot to it as you go through and you start to learn more. If you have an interest in the martial arts side of it, there's a lot to it, right? If you want to get enough to defend yourself with a stick, you don't have to do all of this. If you do, it'll just make you a lot better. So first, learn how to stand behind it, get in a better position, thrust, angular strike, horizontal strike, vertical strike, both down and up. In this position, in the backhand, lift, thrust, strike. There's that angular strike, horizontal strike, vertical strike coming up. In this position, turn your palm up, thrust, angle strike, horizontal strike, vertical strike down, vertical strike up. From this position, turn the hand over. Thrust, angle strike, horizontal strike, vertical strike, vertical strike. They're just different ways to do the same thing in different hand positions. And then, if you want a wrist strengthener, this is a wrist roll. And someone called me out on this. They said, that wrist roll is so ineffective for self-defense. And I keep telling you, it's not you. I keep telling him, it's not for self-defense. It's like a boxer jumps rope, right? You can't tell a boxer that, you're wasting time jumping that rope and hitting the speed bag and punching those heavy bags, because you're never going to do that in a real fight. And he's you look at you, it doesn't make any sense, because we've already argued that. Jumping the rope conditions the heart and lungs, and especially the legs. His legs are fresh and your legs are tired, he's going to knock you out. Hitting that heavy bag develops that dense muscle fiber, that quick explosiveness, and gives him power, 10 times more power than any other puncher I've ever met in a traditional boxer, especially somebody who competes. So hitting that, no, he's not going to bring that into the ring, but when he hits you, you're going to feel every single punch he put into that. When you fight him, if he can do 10 minutes on the jump rope, skipping rope, not just jumping it, but skipping it, different footwork, you're not going to be able to catch him. And he's going to be, he's not going to hit you with it, but you're not going to be able to hit him at all if you don't do it. And that speed bag, and that's just to condition the arms and the heart and the lungs, and to condition your mind to get rid of the flinch, so you don't flinch when you see that leather coming at your face. But so this is the same thing. Don't confuse this with a self-defense move. This is to condition the arms, the hands, the lungs, everything. This is like jumping the rope, coming all over and over. Changbong, that's the Korean word for the long martial arts staff. The Japanese call it the bow. In India, silambam, gakti. I think gakti is the Gurkhas. The Gurkhas also use the long, thin martial arts staff. Chinese kung fu, wushu has been doing spins and flips and stuff with their staff for years and years. Danbong, dongbong. I think dongbong, short staff. The one with the little string goes around your thumb and they whip it around. Law enforcement used to carry it in Korea, in Seoul. I don't know if they still do. Seoul is one of the safest places I've ever been. Depending on where you go, you can find places that you shouldn't be, that you're going to get yourself in trouble. Anywhere around an American military base, stay away from that. But if you go out into most places of Seoul, it's so clean. People are so kind, so nice, respectful. They're not spitting all over the place like they do in other countries. They do it the end of the night, after the mekoli or made you drink enough beer. They go out and they water all of the trees in the urban landscape. You have to watch out for that. But they're usually singing a song. Everybody's in a good mood. Japan, totally different bird, different kind of place. Beautiful, so clean. You don't see anybody during the day. As soon as the whistle blows, everybody's done for the day. So you're just coming, everybody's out. And then you go to China. In China, I thought I was in Iowa. I thought I was in Ohio. I thought I was in Michigan. Every car is either a Buick or a BMW. It's just a sloppy place. It's just like, you know, yeah, just like the Midwest in the United States. Kind of let their hair, until you get to Hong Kong. You know, Hong Kong is the financial center, or used to be. The CCP, the Communist Party, is destroying everything over there. But there's still a lot of money there. So really fancy people, good-looking people, skinny, nice clothes. But you go out, you go into Beijing, and if you can see anything, because the smog is still pretty bad. Maybe not now with the COVID, I don't know. I don't think I'll be there anytime soon. So ever since they went to that new way that they swab for COVID over there, you can look that up. I thought that was a weird online conspiracy thing. It's not. They can subject you to a certain kind of unpleasant swab that's not in your nose if you go over there as a foreigner. All right, so do this to finish up. Get those arms, hands, wrist strength going. Get super strong. Get the speed in your strikes going, and enjoy it. You have to have fun. Try to have fun with these things. I put some links below. One, if you want to buy your own, you don't have to make it, right? Go to the first link. If you want to buy your own, go to the next links. And then go back and look at some of my videos on how to make your own self-defense walking stick. You guys have been awesome. Again, thanks for those 2 donations, and I'll see